Most men look at a tattoo and see art. They see beauty, mystery, rebellion. They see a woman who stands out, who doesn't follow rules, who seems exciting. But what if I told you that ink isn't just decoration? It's a signal, a marker, a psychological fingerprint of what's hidden beneath the surface. Because behind the colors, the symbols, the quotes, there are patterns. Patterns revealed in study after study. Patterns that most men ignore until it's too late. Impulsivity, attention-seeking, aggression, unresolved pain, drama that never ends. Not every tattooed woman carries all of it, but the risks are real, and the man who looks only at the surface ends up blindsided by what lies underneath. Today, I'm revealing the 10 hidden risks of dating a woman with tattoos. Not opinions, not stereotypes, but patterns backed by psychology and research. Patterns that could change how you see her ink forever. Let's begin. Risk 1. Impulsivity that doesn't end with the tattoo. At first, impulsivity feels magnetic. She's adventurous, spontaneous, always chasing excitement. That's what draws you in. Her energy feels like freedom, but the same impulse that drives her to ink her skin on a whim doesn't stop there. It seeps into everything. Reckless spending, explosive arguments, temptation she can't resist. A tattoo is often a permanent decision made in a fleeting moment. A breakup, a wild night, a surge of emotion. And that same live now, forget tomorrow pattern often shows up in her relationships too. The problem? Love requires patience, stability, and long-term thinking. Impulsivity eventually turns into instability, and instability destroys trust. So when you see the ink, don't just see art. See the possibility that she lives for the moment, even when the cost lands on you. Risk 2. The hidden link between tattoos and mental health struggles. On the surface, tattoos look like symbols of strength, a bird after heartbreak, a phoenix after loss, a quote about resilience. But research shows another truth. Women with multiple tattoos often score higher in anxiety, depression, and even self-harm histories. For many, tattoos aren't decoration. They're coping mechanisms, armor against pain that never fully healed. And when pain stays unresolved, it bleeds into relationships. Mood swings, sudden withdrawals, emotional volatility. One day she's overflowing with affection. The next, she's distant, cold, unreachable. Her ink may look beautiful, but behind it may be scars, psychological ones you can't always see. This doesn't make her a bad person. It makes her human. But as a man, you must ask, are you ready to carry that weight? Because passion isn't the same as stability. And if her tattoos are maps of wounds that never healed, you'll end up walking through her pain too. Risk 3. Attention-seeking and the endless hunger for validation. Tattoos are designed to be seen. They're signals, statements, invitations for eyes to linger. And while many women claim they get them just for themselves, studies reveal something deeper, a strong link between tattoos, narcissism, and attention-seeking traits. At first, it feels intoxicating. You're with the woman who turns heads everywhere she goes. Compliments flood in. Strangers stare. She becomes the center of every room, and you get the ego boost of being the man by her side. But here's the danger. If her sense of worth depends on outside validation, your attention will never be enough. She'll chase more. Likes on Instagram, flirting in public, compliments from strangers, fuel she can't live without. And when you stop feeding that need, she'll find it somewhere else. At first, it looks like confidence, but in time you realize it's an addiction. And addictions don't stop at admiration. They flirt with temptation. So when you see the ink, ask yourself, is it self-expression? Or is it an advertisement? a permanent call for attention, because if it's the latter, you'll never be her only audience. Risk 4. Risky sexual behavior hidden beneath the ink. One of the strongest patterns psychology reveals is this. Women with tattoos report higher numbers of sexual partners and greater openness to casual encounters. Why? Because tattoos often signal sensation-seeking, a hunger for novelty, for excitement, for breaking rules. And that craving doesn't end with ink. It often spills into her relationships, especially in the bedroom. On one side, this can be magnetic. She's adventurous, fiery, uninhibited. She may bring passion that feels unmatched, but the same craving for thrill can clash with stability. When routine sets in, she may start chasing novelty again. The risk is simple. Passion without discipline burns fast and burns out. A tattoo doesn't guarantee this pattern, but statistically, it raises the odds. And if you're looking for loyalty and stability, you must ask yourself, is her ink a sign of freedom, or a sign she's wired to keep chasing the next high? Risk 5. Aggression and conflict in relationships. Research shows a strong link between tattoos and higher aggression scores. That doesn't mean every tattooed woman is violent, but it does mean she's more likely to be confrontational, quick-tempered, and resistant to authority. At first, that fire feels intoxicating. She pushes back, argues with passion, refuses to be tamed. It feels exciting, like raw energy wrapped in skin. But excitement fades, and what remains is chaos. Arguments that never end, small issues exploding into battles, boundaries constantly tested, respect slowly eroded. Because when aggression runs the relationship, love can't breathe. It stops being a sanctuary and turns into an arena. A tattoo can be a symbol of rebellion, of defiance, of a spirit that refuses to bow. At first, that edge attracts you, but in the long run, it grinds you down, because no matter how much passion she brings, love cannot thrive in a constant war zone. Risk 6. Tattoos as symbols of trauma and unresolved pain. Many tattoos aren't just decoration, they're scars with ink, attempts to reclaim control after heartbreak, betrayal, or abuse, a rose after loss, a phoenix after devastation, a quote about strength after being broken. On the surface, it looks poetic, but psychology shows something darker. If the wounds behind the tattoo never healed, the ink isn't closure, it's camouflage. And pain doesn't disappear just because it's hidden. It resurfaces, in mood swings, in attachment issues, in cycles of self-sabotage. At first, you may be drawn to her resilience, her fire, her edge. But in time, you realize you're also carrying her ghosts. And here's the hardest truth. You can't save her from that. No amount of love will erase trauma she hasn't healed within herself. So when you see the ink, ask yourself, is it art or is it armor? Because if it's armor, you must be ready for the battle that comes with it. Risk 7. A rebellion against stability. Tattoos, by nature, are rebellion, a rejection of norms, a statement of defiance, and that same streak often shows up in relationships. Rules, routines, compromise, the very foundations of stability can feel suffocating to her. At first, rebellion feels magnetic. She's bold, daring, unapologetic. It's intoxicating to be near her fire. But in time, rebellion doesn't stop at society. It seeps into intimacy. Commitment feels like a cage. Boundaries feel like chains. And instead of stability, she craves disruption. Studies confirm it. Tattooed women score higher on non-conformity and deviance. It doesn't mean she's breaking laws. It means she's wired to push limits. And while that edge may excite you early on, when the honeymoon fades, it leaves you with resistance where you needed support. Because love can't thrive when one partner is always at war with stability itself. Risk 8. The shadow of regret. Here's an uncomfortable truth. Studies show women regret tattoos more often than men. At first, the ink feels powerful, a symbol of freedom, a badge of rebellion. But years later, it can turn into shame, a reminder of poor choices, fleeting emotions, moments they wish they could erase. And regret doesn't stop at ink. A woman who second-guesses her tattoos may second-guess her relationships too. That same restlessness can make her question commitment, wonder if something better is out there, rewrite her own history. Regret is poison in love. It breeds dissatisfaction. It breeds instability. It whispers, maybe I chose wrong. So when you see the ink, ask yourself, is it something she'll still embrace tomorrow? Or will it be another ghost she carries, and another regret you inherit? Risk 9. A higher likelihood of divorce. Sociological studies reveal a hard pattern. Women with tattoos are statistically more likely to face divorce and relationship breakdowns. Why? Because the same traits linked to tattoos, impulsivity, risk-taking, rebellion, don't mix well with the patience and discipline marriage requires. In the beginning, that fire feels intoxicating. She's passionate, unapologetic, untamed. But when long-term responsibilities set in, shared finances, children, sacrifice, her psychology fights back. What once felt like freedom now feels like prison. And if she also craves validation from the outside world, monogamy itself becomes suffocating. A tattoo doesn't cause divorce, but it often signals traits that make it more likely. And if you ignore those markers, the same fire that drew you in could be the one that burns everything down. Risk 10. The drama never ends. Studies show tattooed women score higher in sensation-seeking, aggression, and emotional volatility. Put these together, and you get drama. At first, it feels addictive. She kisses like she's starving, texts endlessly, fights with passion. The highs are intoxicating, the lows feel just as intense. It's a roller coaster that makes you mistake chaos for love. But over time, drama drains you. You walk on eggshells, never knowing if tomorrow brings affection or war. Arguments become the glue that holds the relationship together. Peace feels foreign. Calm feels boring. And here's the harsh truth. For many, drama isn't dysfunction. It's oxygen. A tattoo doesn't guarantee chaos. But when you pair impulsivity, rebellion, trauma, and attention-seeking, the picture becomes clear. She doesn't just wear ink on her skin. She carries storms in her blood. Now you've seen the truth. The 10 hidden risks of dating a woman with tattoos. Impulsivity, pain, rebellion, drama, patterns written not just on her skin, but deep inside her psychology. Most men ignore the signals. They chase the thrill. And in the end, they pay the price. But you're not most men. You've seen what others refuse to see. And once you see it, you can never unsee it. If you want more raw, unfiltered truths like this, the kind society doesn't want you to hear, subscribe to the Stoic Architect. Return, rewire, rise,